where we're going to show you how to build Google Chrome extensions without code using Bubble and Bubble only. You will need no code, nothing else you have to configure yourself. All you will need is our integration, which you can get at chrome.nocodehq.com. And if you want further functionality, our plugin, which is available in the Bubble plugin store. For pricing information, please visit our webpage, chrome.nocodehq.com. Let's go through a few of the features that are included. So what you will get is you will get a ready build, a ready to publish zip file where your Bubble application will be embedded. So you will actually design your Chrome extension in Bubble within a specific page. This will then be embedded as a Chrome extensions, including the logo, the size, and the URL that should be loaded. And then if you subscribe to the plugin as well, the really fun stuff happens, which is you can communicate, or your Bubble application can communicate with your Chrome extensions and also with the current active page of the user. So there's a bilateral communication possible. So what is included, for example? So what you can do, you can get the current user's opened tab URL. So you can get the information via your Bubble app Chrome extensions, which URL the user is currently browsing. You can actually get the current highlighted text. So you could build something like Grammarly where you highlight a text, you open the Chrome extensions, and you can read this highlighted text in your Bubble Chrome extension and then do things like check spelling and so on and so forth. You can go ahead and you can trigger things. You can trigger actions from your Bubble application. You can trigger a new web page to be opened. You can trigger the creation of a new bookmark in the Chrome browser. You can also change inputs on a page. So you can populate inputs on any website triggered from your Bubble application. You can get the main language of the page. You can show alerts, and we're adding lots of new features soon. So basically there's almost no limit on what you can build or what kind of Chrome extensions you will be able to build. Something that's coming soon is taking screenshots of the current tab and then getting this image in your Bubble application. Maybe it's already published when you're watching this video, but lots of new features coming, so stay tuned. And let's jump right into this tutorial. So what you want to first do is you want to obviously have a Bubble application. And the Bubble application is as usual. And then what you want to do is you want to create a new page, okay? And you want to create a single page just for the Chrome extension or where you're going to build the Chrome extension, okay? That's the best way to do it. So for example, you could call it extension, you can call it page demo, we call it demo in this case, it doesn't really matter what you call it. And then you're going to build the whole Chrome extension on this page. And again, keep in mind, this is just Bubble. So you have access to all your application data, you have access to all other things within your application, okay? So a few things you have to keep in mind. First thing is you will have to define the width and height of your Chrome extensions beforehand. You won't be able to change that. So if this is, and keep in mind, this, for example, in this case, our width is 600 pixels, our height is 500 pixels, and we want to make this element fixed width. Now, if we open our Chrome extension, this will actually be displayed here. This whole box, 600 by 500, will then be displayed as a Chrome extension. So if you need more space, well, then adjust that, but decide beforehand how much space you actually need for the Chrome extension, okay? We're gonna stay with 600 by 500. Next thing is you wanna head over to settings, general, and you wanna say, all right, should I allow this to render in an iframe? Yes, I wanna allow all iframes, okay? Let's also publish this here. Okay, so next thing, before we're going to start building our Chrome extension, you want to actually head over to chrome.nocodehq.com. You want to get started, so make an account here. And once you made an account, you will be able to access the dashboard. It's really, really simple. So let's create a new extension here. Let's click a new one. And you have to fill in all of this information. So a few things to keep in mind. The name of the extension will be the name that will also be displayed in the Google extension bar. So be sure that you don't make a mistake here, and that's the final name of your extension. Yeah, so let's call that demo app. Same thing with the description, just add a sentence, and also this will be displayed in the Google Chrome bar. So so make sure that what you enter here is correct, and it will also be publicly visible, okay? For the icon, this will be the icon. Let me show you. For example, this is a Chrome extension. This is an icon of this Chrome extension. That's one of our Chrome extensions as well. So this is the icon that will be displayed. and also in the extension menu. So upload your icon. Important, the icon has to be of the format PNG, and it has to be 1 by 1. So it can be 500 pixels by 500 pixels, but it has to be square. Okay. What we're gonna do, we're gonna then create different versions of your icon for different sizes. So just keep in mind that if you give us a very low resolution logo, this will be shown in the extension bar. It doesn't look too good. So just upload a PNG version of your logo in square format, and don't upload it too small. Maybe do something like 1000 by 1000 pixels if that's possible, and we can work with that. The URL, very, very important. This will be the actual URL that will be loaded. In our case, this will be HTTPS. Important, this has to be included. So include everything, www, or actually don't have www. We have chrome.nocodehq, and in my case, or in our case here, /demo. Very important, do not include parameters. So do not include anything like ID equals whatever and user equals, no parameters, just a simple URL. If you add parameters, the extension will work. Okay, so this would be a great example. And then again, the width and the height in pixel, and we're going to use what we defined here. So width 600 pixels, height 500. So 600 and 500. All right, you're going to click on create. Let me also upload an icon. So if I upload an icon, I'm going to click on create, and we have our Chrome extension will be brought to the page. And then what you want to do is you want to go ahead and pay for the build, and then creating the build will take up to 24 hours. We're usually much faster. Our team tries to create your builds as fast as possible. They're manually created, so it can take some time. And obviously, we sit in one specific time zone. We sit in the German Berlin time zone, so it might be nighttime if you make your build. So please be a bit patient. Don't send us an email when is my build coming. It will come. May take a couple of hours, but the great thing is you can already start building your actual Chrome extensions in Bubble in the meantime. Install the plugin and get going, and then once you have the build, you're ready to go. Okay, so once you have your build, inform you via email, and then you can head back to our page here and go to your dashboard, and there you will see your extension again, so demo app, and instead of a pay button, there will be a download button where you will be able to download the builds. So what will you be able to download? What you'll be able to download will be a zip file. And this zip file is what you will need when you submit your Google Chrome extensions to the Google Chrome extension developer dashboard. They will require you to upload a zip. However, with the zip file, you cannot test the Chrome extension. So what I would recommend is just make a copy of the zip file, save it for later. And then in order to test your application locally on your browser, what you want to do is you want to unpack the zip file, okay? And then what usually happens on computers when you unzip a zip file, a folder is created with the same name as the zip file, and in this folder all the files are located. And this is exactly what you should do. And to double check, in this file, in this folder, this new folder you create, whatever you call it or whatever it is called, there should be 3 files and 1 folder called images. Okay. Please do not change anything, any code within that, change any files, because changing one thing will render the Chrome extension not working. So please be aware. We created the folder or unpacked the zip only to test the Chrome extension locally. And now how do you do that? So what you do is you go here to the symbol and go to manage extensions. And then you go ahead and click on load unpacked, and then you want to select this folder that you just unzipped. Okay, in my case I called it demo. Select that, and as you can see, it worked out. I used the demo extension I just created with the icon is displayed. This was the icon we uploaded before. This is the title I was talking to before, and this is the description. As you can see, these are publicly visible. If we look at something like the Facebook Pixel Helper, this is the name, and this is the description of the extension, and this is the icon, and the icon will be first of all displayed here, and it will also be displayed here under the extensions. Okay, now you can see we have our demo extension here. It's installed. It's only locally, but still it's installed. It's what we can do is we can go ahead and we can pin that here just to make it easier to test with. So let me drag that down so you can now always see, okay, our demo Chrome extension is here. So let's actually click that and see what happens. Okay, our Bubble app is opened here in a pop-up, loads quite fast, and this is the title we have, just the size doesn't fit because I actually changed the size afterwards. So let me just check what my size here is in my build that I created. Okay, so the width is 400 pixels and the height is 500. So let's go to my demo here and let's actually change that. The width should be 400, width, height 500, width 400. Okay, let's center that now. Actually make that a bit smaller maybe. Yeah, it's too big. Okay, and let's also publish that live. And now if we open our extension, again, the great thing on Bubble is, or because this is now wrapped or Bubble application wrapped, this automatically shows now. So you can see the extension works. We can visit any Wikipedia, okay? We can open our Chrome extension anywhere, okay? It looks quite nice. This is the size. If we would have chosen another size, obviously this pop-up would be bigger, like this, would be smaller, different dimensions, whatever. But you can see it works already. It is embedded here. Nothing too fancy yet, too interesting. I mean, this works, but no real functionality. And this is what we're gonna do now. So what you will need is you will need our plugin called Google Chrome Extensions, okay? And this plugin is what will actually allow you to create functionality, to create bilateral communication between basically the Chrome extension and Bubble, and also to the current web page the user is on, okay? So what is possible? So first of all, you can trigger actions and you can also read data. And the great thing is there's no code required with this solution. You simply install the plugin, and like any other plugin, you then have access to workflows, and that's all you have to do. So let's try out some of these things. Let's search first of all for the element, which is called Chrome extension. Simply drag that onto the page. It's a really small element, it just has to be there. And now let's just add a simple button. And this button, let's start at a workflow. And now you can go over to element actions and you see all the actions that you have access to. Right now it's get the current URL of the user, get highlighted text, open a new tab, create a new bookmark, get the language, change the value of one input, show an alert, or change value of all inputs, okay? So these are the actions you have access to. These will grow in the next couple of weeks and months a lot, but these are the ones that we're starting with right now. Maybe there are more already when you're watching this video, but let's just show you a bit of an example. Okay, so let's start with a simple example. Let's say that you want to get the current pages of the current active user and the active tab that the user is. So how would you do that? Well, again, simple. I deleted the button before, but let's just add a new one. Let's call that get current URL. Okay. And for example, let's then have a text here beneath. And this text will be Chrome extension A's current URL. Okay. So again, you have access to Chrome extension, then you have access to different states. And right now you can see the current URL. That's what we want. Okay, so let's just publish that live. Really, really simple, but should work fine. So let's open our extension. You can see the button already. Let's click get current URL. Oh, forgot to active functionality, sorry. Start at a workflow, obviously. We want to element actions, get the current URL of a Chrome extension. Let's publish that live. And let's try that again. So open the Chrome extensions, let's get the current URL. Great, so you can see it works perfectly fine. We're on Wikipedia, this contests page. We got the current URL. Let's head over to Nocode HQ. Let's get the current URL. Oh, sorry, wrong extension. Current URL here, it's Nocode HQ. Okay, so you see it works fine. We get communication, we get access to the actual browser of the user, okay? Very simple functionality here, but there's already quite a few things you could build with this. So for example, you could build your own bookmarking system within Bubble. So maybe create a new data type called bookmark with field URL. And then you could say, all right, so maybe save as bookmark, and then you would create a new thing and you would pass in the state of this URL as the bookmark. So really simple, but again, quite powerful possibilities. Let's try something else. Let's try to open a new tab, okay? Let's open a new tab, start at a workflow. Let's delete that. Let's go to element actions and say, all right, I want to open a new tab, okay? Important is here include HTTPS or HTTP, so the protocol. Let's include that. Let's open, again, just nocodehq.com, okay? Again, great thing here would be you could insert dynamic data. You can maybe open the current user's favorite page. You can do a search for things. So you have access to all this bubble features and bubble functionality of your app like you would always have, coupled with the access to the user's browser and Chrome extension functionality, okay? We're just going to use a static URL here, publish that live. Let's open Wikipedia here again and the Chrome extension. Let's open new tab. Works perfectly fine, as you can see. Okay, awesome. So let's take a look at what else is possible. Let's take a look at element actions. So creating a new bookmark is quite interesting. It allows you to actually create a new bookmark here under the bookmarks here in Google Chrome. Okay, so you just have to give a title and the URL of the bookmark. Again, include the protocol HTTPS, and you can trigger the creation of new bookmarks. Really, really simple. You can show alerts on the current page. No matter what page the user is at, you can get the current language of the Chrome extension. Let's try that as well. See, the Chrome extension will scan the whole page and deduce what the main language of this page is. Okay, so let's rename that here, get language, and have the text beneath that, and the text will be the Chrome extension's language. Okay, let's actually build in something else. Okay, great. So let's publish that live. And open the Chrome extension again. Obviously, this should be English here. So let's get the language EN. Okay, let's take a look at that in, I don't know, French. Open the Chrome extension, get the language FR for French. So really, really fast, that uses the whole language of the page, okay, in these country codes. Then another really powerful functionality I want to show you is getting the highlighted text of the user. This, even though that might seem as not that special, but it is special because it allows you to build things like similar like the Grammarly Chrome extension, if you might know that, but basically allow the user to highlight something and then apply something to this text because you have access to that. So for example, you could allow a user to highlight a text and then run a grammar check on this text. You could use this text and then save it in your Bubble application. You could modify this text. You can do all kinds of things. So let's just test that. Get highlighted. Let's call it get highlighted. Okay. Start at a workflow. This time we want to get the highlighted text. Publish that live. And now let's just highlight this here, maybe without the code at the end. Okay. Open the Chrome extensions. Let's get the highlighted text. Immediately it's displayed. Really, really great. And again, as I mentioned, you can then work with this as well. Yeah, you can maybe then, I don't know, have a button here, apply grammar check, and then run an API to do a grammar check, do translations, and so on and so forth. One thing that we're planning to add is then replacement, so that you could replace a text on a certain web page. That is not live as of yet. Maybe it might be live when you're watching this video, but the possible use cases are limitless. So let's go to another page. Really doesn't matter which page you are on. Let's go to, I don't know, just anything here on Wikipedia in French. Let's copy that, highlight that, get the highlighted. Works perfectly fine, no issues, and you have access to the text now, okay? I'm not gonna show you every functionality. One last thing I wanna show you is to change the values of text. Okay, that's quite a or the values of input, sorry. That's quite a powerful feature, okay? Allows you to build things like automatic form fillers using data from your Bubble app and Bubble database, and lots of other use cases. I'm sure people will come up with great use cases for these extensions, but let's try that. So let's change the input value. Okay, and let's also actually add an input here beneath that, and let's call that value. Okay, so there's two actions you have access to. Action number one will be change the value of one input, or change the value of all inputs. change the value of one input will ask you for the element ID of this input. So only use that if you know the ID of the input you want to change. In our case, let's try here Nocode HQ. This is an input. Enter your email, let's inspect that, and you can see, all right, this has a specific ID, which is this long thing here, and we can copy that. And if you know you want your extension to work on this page here, in this case Nocode HQ, well then we have the ID and we can target it specifically. So enter the element ID here, and let's change the value to whatever input value is. Okay, so let's try that now. So now we're on Nocode HQ, we're gonna open the Chrome extension, we're gonna say, all right, change the input to test@email.com. Okay, as you can see, it's automatically populated, works perfectly fine, immediate population, and we're doing that statically now. But obviously you can add dynamic data and populate the current user's bubble email into this field here if you want to do that. Okay, so it works perfectly fine. The other functionality would be to change all inputs on a field, okay, on a page. So let's go to the sign up page here. If we check the sign up page, these don't have IDs if we inspect that, so we can't target them directly, but we could target them by saying, all right, let's change the value of all inputs on a page to whatever the input value is. Okay. And let's try that. Let's open the Chrome extension. Let's say test. Let's change the input. You can see username test, email test, password test. These are all three inputs that are on the page. There's no other inputs and it works perfectly fine. So as you can see, really easy. Just use normal Bubble workflows, Bubble actions using this plugin that we provide. Again, we're gonna add a lot of new features in the upcoming weeks and months, but you already have access to these that I showed to you. A few we didn't go through, but they're relatively straightforward and they allow you to build your whole Chrome extension here. And obviously your Chrome extension will be completely tied in with your Bubble application and will have access to all the user data, Bubble data you want, obviously because it's built in Bubble. Yeah. So what you could also do is if you want users to be required to sign up to your Chrome extension before using it, you could have like a pop-up which said this pop-up can't be closed, and then you have like log in now with some field, and then you say, all right, so workflow when when condition is true, or when user is logged out, please show this pop-up. Okay, really simple now, but let's just try that. So let's say user wants to use your Chrome extension, he's not logged in. Well, he has to log in first, otherwise it won't work. Okay, so lots of different use cases. This is quite new for us as well. We're the first offering to build Chrome extensions with Bubble, so there will be a lot of new updates in the future. So feel free also to reach out to us if you have any ideas for new features. We're looking forward to building as many features as possible. One small thing is that once you're ready with testing, you're happy with your Bubble Chrome extension, you can go ahead and submit it. So you will have to sign up as a Bubble Chrome extension developer account, pay a one-time fee of $5, and then you can fill out all the store information, obviously things like privacy policy and description and logos and assets. That's typical if you submit any kind of app. And then you will have to submit a build, and then the zip file is required. The build you will have to submit will be the zip file that you downloaded at the beginning of this tutorial. And then there's one small thing. In order to allow you to do all these things, to create bookmarks, to change input values and so on, our Chrome extension build requires some permissions, okay? And we made the experience in the past that if you then submit your Chrome extension, sometimes Google replies and says, hey, we saw that you request all these permissions, but you're not using them. So what might happen is that if you build your Chrome extension and you don't use the creation of bookmarks in any way, Google might say, well, you're not using the permission of bookmarks, then why do you have it anyway? Don't add permissions you don't need. If that is the case, simply send us an email to info@nocode.com. It will take us a couple of minutes to remove the permissions from your build, and then you can resubmit again. We have to do that. We have to include all permissions because otherwise you wouldn't be able to include, for example, the creation of bookmarks. So we start off with all permissions. If you don't use all the functionality of our plugin, then you will have to remove some permissions. Again, it's really simple to do. So reach out to us manually if you have any issues with that. So thank you for watching. We're really excited to see what you guys are going to build with this new tool. Feel free to reach out to us. Visit chrome.nocode.com, and also please share this, show it to other people. Let's build awesome Chrome extensions together. Thank you for watching, and see you guys for the next video.